In the frozen shadows of the Montana peaks, a legendary male cougar faced his darkest hour. To save his pregnant mate from a monster, he did something no one thought possible. He chose trust over fear. The tension begins right now. Sam Miller stood on the edge of the Bitterroot wilderness. He had lived here for 65 years. He knew the mountains like his own backyard. But today, the woods were unnervingly silent. The squirrels were hiding. The birds had stopped singing. Sam gripped his old thermos. He felt a strange weight in the air. He knew when the mountain was about to speak. He stepped over a fallen tree. His boots crunched in the fresh snow. That is when he heard it. A deep grunt, splintering wood, a hiss like steam from a broken pipe. Sam rounded a jagged rock. His heart hammered against his ribs. There, trapped against a cliff, was a mountain lion. She was beautiful. Her coat was pale gold against the white snow. But she was in deep trouble. Her belly was heavy and low. She was days away from giving birth. She was cornered by a 500-pound feral hog. This was a razorback. It was a monster with tusks like ivory knives. The hog lowered its head. Its eyes glowed with wild fury. It lunged. Its tusks grazed the female's side. She hissed, but she was slow. She couldn't jump. She couldn't run. Just as the hog prepared for a final charge, a golden blur fell from the sky. It was the ghost. He was a massive male cougar with a notched ear. He did not roar. He struck with the silence of a falling star. He landed on the hog's back. His claws dug deep. The hog squealed in terror. It spun away. The ghost stood between the monster and his mate. He was a shield of pure muscle. Terrified by this fury, the hog broke and fled. It vanished into the dark brush. Sam exhaled. The hog was gone, but the silence was worse. The ghost turned to his mate. She had collapsed. A dark stain was spreading on the snow. Rehook. You won't believe what this father did next. He didn't run from the man with the gun. He did the unthinkable. Sam reached for his rifle. It was a habit, but he stopped. The ghost did not growl. He did not show his teeth. Instead, he looked at Sam with golden eyes. They held 1,000 years of wisdom. The big male looked at Sam. Then he looked at his mate. He let out a low, mournful sound. It was a trill that sounded like a sob. He took 3 steps back. He sat down in the snow. He was waiting. Sam realized the cat was asking for help. It defied every rule of the wild. Sam slowly leaned his rifle against a tree. He showed his empty hands. He moved toward the female. The ghost watched every move. He stayed as still as a stone. Sam knelt in the snow. The mother cougar, whom Sam called Hope, was cold. Her breathing was thin. Sam knew he could not save her here. He had to get her to the clinic in town. Sam brought his heavy sled closer. Usually, a male cougar would defend his mate to the death, but the ghost stayed back. As Sam struggled to lift the heavy cat onto the tarp, the ghost did something amazing. He stepped forward. Sam flinched, but the ghost did not attack. He nudged Hope with his nose. He helped Sam slide her onto the fabric. Sam's hands were shaking. He hitched the sled to his snowmobile. As he drove away, the ghost began to run. He stayed in the shadows. He was a golden shadow running parallel to the trail. He never lost sight of the sled. He was trusting a human with his whole world. Sam loaded Hope into the back of his truck. He looked at the tree line. The ghost was there. He was standing on a rock. He was watching. Sam gave a small nod. "I'll take care of them," he whispered. The truck roared to life. The race began. The rescue was just the beginning. Inside the clinic, the lights were about to go out. A miracle was about to be tested. By the time Sam reached Doc Sarah's clinic, the sky was purple. A blizzard was starting. Sarah had saved many animals, but she gasped when she saw Hope. "She's in shock, Sam. Her heart is struggling. The kittens are fading." They rushed her onto the metal table. Suddenly, a massive boom shook the building. A transformer had blown in the storm. The lights died. "I can't see," Sarah cried. Sam grabbed 2 flashlights. He held them steady as Sarah began the surgery. The only sound was the wind and the heart monitor. Suddenly, the beep turned into a long, flat tone. "She's gone," Sarah whispered. Her heart stopped. Outside, a roar erupted. It shook the windows. The ghost was outside. He was pacing the porch. Somehow he knew. He felt the light go out. Sarah did not stop. She began chest compressions. Sam prayed. He looked at the screen. 3 tiny shapes were still. But then, as the ghost cried out again, Sarah shouted, "Wait! I see a flicker!" She performed a quick surgery. She pulled out the first kitten. It was limp. She handed it to Sam. "Rub him. Use the towel. Don't stop." Then the second. Then the third. Sam used his large hands. He rubbed their tiny bodies with a tenderness he hadn't felt in years. Minutes felt like hours. Sam felt a twitch in his hand. The first kitten squeaked, then the second, but the third kitten stayed still. Sarah was working on the mother's heart. Sam was working on the last kitten. "Come on, little fighter," Sam whispered. He blew a tiny puff of air into its nose. Suddenly, the monitor started to beep again. Thump, thump, thump. And in Sam's hand, the third kitten finally gasped. It gave a tiny cry. The room went silent. They were all alive. Every single one of them. Hope had come back. She was pulled back by the voice of her mate outside. They placed the kittens in a warm box. Hope was bandaged and sleeping. Sam walked to the window. The ghost was right there. He was looking through the glass. He was silent now. He saw the kittens. He stayed there all night. He was a sentinel in the snow. Rehook. But the family was not safe yet. A new threat was moving in. The ghost was about to show what a father's love looks like. The days that followed were quiet. Hope was healing, but she was too weak to defend her young. The smell of blood had drifted on the wind. It was a dinner bell for the hungry. On the 8th night, Sam heard a sound that made his stomach turn. It was the yipping of a coyote pack. These were mountain coyotes. They were starving and aggressive. Sam saw them through his binoculars. There were 20 of them. They were circling the clinic. They sensed a weakened queen. Sam grabbed his rifle, but he stopped. He looked at the porch. The ghost was standing there. His fur was standing up. He looked twice his size. He moved like a shadow. He did not wait for them to attack. He lunged into the dark. Sam watched the snow fly. The ghost took on 3 coyotes at once. It was a terrifying sight. The coyotes tried to surround him. They nipped at his heels, but the ghost was too fast. He was a whirlwind of claws, but there were too many. One coyote bit the ghost's shoulder. The big cat roared in pain. He did not move. He stood right in front of the door. He was willing to die for that door. Sam could not stand it. He stepped out and fired a shot into the air. The loud crack echoed off the peaks. The coyotes ran for a second. That was all the ghost needed. He regained his footing. He let out a roar so powerful it shook the roof. The coyotes realized the cost was too high. They fled into the dark. The ghost did not chase them. He turned back to the clinic. He was bleeding, but he sat back down at his post. He looked at Sam. He gave a slow blink. It was the sign of total trust. As Sam watched the ghost, he thought of his wife, Martha. She had passed away 10 years ago. They never had children. Sam had been lonely for a long time. But watching this cat fight for his family changed something. Sam started bringing meat for the ghost. He talked to him in a low voice. "You're a good provider," Sam would say. He felt a bond. It was 2 old souls guarding a new life. Sam realized that Martha was right. Nature has a heart. Even when it is frozen, it beats for those it loves. The pack was gone. The ghost was fed. The kittens were growing. For the first time in years, Sam Miller felt like he had a purpose. He wasn't just a ranger. He was a part of something bigger. Rehook. The time for release was coming, but the monster from the ledge had returned, and it had brought an army. The snow melted into spring green. The day arrived. Hope was strong. The kittens were balls of energy. They were ready. Sam and Sarah drove them back to the high ridge. They reached the spot where it all began. Sam felt a lump in his throat. He opened the cages. Hope stepped out. She sniffed the air. The ghost was waiting. He appeared from the trees. The reunion was beautiful. He nuzzled Hope. He touched noses with each kitten. It was a coronation. But the peace lasted only minutes. From the brush below, a heavy sound erupted. The giant Razorback was back. And it was not alone. 5 other massive hogs emerged. They were a wall of muscle and tusks. They had claimed this ridge. They wanted the cats gone. Sam gripped his binoculars. He wanted to help, but Sarah laid a hand on his arm. "No, Sam. This is their fight. They have to win this to stay." The hogs charged, but this time the ghost did not fight alone. He looked at Hope. They moved together. It was a masterpiece. Hope moved to the left. The ghost moved to the right. Then the 3 kittens did something amazing. They did not run. They stayed together. They hissed and pounced at the hog's heels. They were small, but they were a distraction. The ghost lunged at the lead hog. They tumbled in a cloud of dust. Hope struck the second hog. The other hogs saw this. They were not fighting one mother. They were fighting a family. They began to panic. The ghost delivered a final blow to the lead hog. It was a message. The boar squealed and ran. The rest of the pack followed. They were broken. Their reign was over. The ghost stood on the highest rock. The spring sun caught the gold of his coat. He looked like a king. Hope stood beside him. The 3 kittens sat at their feet. They looked out over the valley. The ghost looked at Sam. For a long minute, man and cat locked eyes. There was no fear. There was only an ancient understanding. The ghost let out a short, sharp call. It was a salute. Then he turned and led his family into the green heart of the wild. Sam watched them until they were golden specks. He felt a weight lift off his chest. He had been waiting 10 years for this feeling. He wasn't a lonely man anymore. He was the man who helped a king. In the weeks that followed, the story of the Bitterroot Cougars spread through the mountain towns. People talked about the ranger and the big cat. But for Sam, it wasn't about the fame. It was about the quiet moments. He remembered the smell of the clinic, the yellow light of the lanterns, the way the ghost's fur felt when he nudged Hope onto the sled. These were the things that stayed with him. Sam started spending more time in the high country. He wasn't hunting, he was just walking. He would find tracks in the mud, 2 large sets of paws, 3 tiny ones. He knew they were out there. He knew they were keeping the balance. The hogs didn't come back to that ridge. The elk began to return. The mountain was healing itself. Sam often thought about the speechless moment at the end. When the ghost looked at him, it wasn't just a thank you, it was a reminder. We are all connected. Whether we have 2 legs or 4, we all want the same thing. We want our children to be safe. We want a place to call home. We want someone to stand by us when the storm comes. One evening, Sam sat on his porch. He held an old photo of Martha. He looked at the mountains. He felt a peace he hadn't known in a decade. He realized that the rescue didn't just save the Cougars. It saved him. It brought him back to the world. It showed him that hope is never really gone. It just hides sometimes. It waits for someone brave enough to look for it. The Bitterroot Wilderness is a harsh place. It takes a lot to survive there. But it also gives back. It gives back a sense of wonder. It gives back the knowledge that miracles are real. You just have to be willing to see them. You have to be willing to lend a hand, even when you are afraid. Sam stood up and stretched. He looked at the darkened peaks. Somewhere up there, a family was sleeping. They were warm. They were together. And Sam Miller was the reason why. He went inside his cabin. He slept better than he had in years. The mountain was quiet, but it was a good quiet. It was the quiet of a job well done. Nature has a way of reminding us of what matters. Love, loyalty, and family are not just for humans. They are the heartbeat of the wild. They are the threads that hold the world together. The story of the ghost and hope shows us that every life is worth fighting for. It shows us that trust is the most powerful tool we have. Sam Miller didn't just save a cougar, he saved a piece of the American spirit. He showed us that kindness is a strength. He showed us that when we protect the wild, we protect ourselves. If this story touched your heart, please join our community. There are so many more stories of courage and rescue waiting to be told. They prove that there is still so much good in the world. Please take a moment to look at the next video on your screen. It features another incredible rescue that will leave you inspired. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Do you believe that animals can feel love just like we do? Have you ever had a connection with a wild creature? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Every comment helps us share these messages of hope with more people. Until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and keep your heart open to the wonders of the world around you. We'll see you in the next adventure.